You're listening to Cattywampus.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Dragon Ball Not Z.
Previously on Dragon Ball, they started a saga and then just did not finish it and told you to come back for more. This is the fourth season. This is the General Blue saga because it's sort of like a subchapter of this overall Red Ribbon Army saga. I guess Commander Red kind of, he's in this. I think we see him a couple times, but he kind of sits this one out. And we really just have the fun kind of interestingly coded General Blue. a lot of stereotypes check off with as General Blue continues through the season. You know how they say take one piece of jewelry off before you leave, or Coco Chanel says take one piece of jewelry off before you leave? General Blue's the kind of character I'm like, you could delete one weird thing about this guy before we started the show, because a lot comes up with him.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm going to kick us off. So we're picking up with episode 46. The Dragon Radar leads Goku and Bulma to an island under control of General Blue of the Red Ribbon Army. Bulma discovers that she has accidentally grabbed her father's bag and realizes the only supplies they have is a dino capsule full of pornographic magazines. Goku attempts to dive for the Dragon Ball in the ocean, but it is too deep for him to reach. Meanwhile, Red Ribbon Army helicopter pilots arrive and attack Bulma. They corner her and attempt to sexually assault her, but Goku returns and defeats them, destroying their helicopters. Goku then suggests he and Bulma go to Master Roshi for help in recovering the balls.
My favorite part of your notes here is that you specifically say they attempt to sexually assault her, then Goku's suggestion is to take him to somebody else to get sexually assaulted.
Yeah, it's
a weird start to the season.
This episode, they all have multiple titles, but in some of the translations, this one is called Bulma's Bad Day, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. It's
a little on the nose.
It's truly the worst thing that's happened to her in this show.
It's like Dragon Ball, I Spit on Your Grave.
It's insane. I also just think it's funny every time the Nimbus can go faster if you ask it, and I'm just like, just always go faster. Like, why is he ever going?
Actually, it kind of comes up later.
That's true.
There is a reason why it limits itself.
Yeah, it feels like a thing Roshi could maybe, have mentioned. But then again, Roshi didn't really train them in any real meaningful way or provide any guidance to any of the things he gave to Goku. I guess now is as good a time as any to describe General Blue. For people not following along at home with their Crunchyroll, General Blue, at this point, General Blue is kind of like an Aryan kind of Nazi, and he's kind of just sort of British Fae, but he's going to have a lot of quirks and abilities that we don't yet know about. But at this point, he's kind of just like, I'm kind of a Fae British Nazi, and you're like, okay. Cool, that makes sense, I guess. As much as any of the Red Ribbon Army makes sense.
Right.
I also thought it was interesting that the Red Ribbon Army mentioned they were going to arrest Bulma at one point, which makes me go, okay, wait, you can arrest... Does this army have, like, permanent political control of this area?
I'm assuming it was lost in translation. It was more like, we're going to take you prisoner.
We're going to detain you, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a prisoner of war, of whatever war we're fighting against whomever. I also thought it was funny that Bulma basically pocket-sanded them, which, the King of the Hill's greatest contribution to culture. Anyway, excellent start to the season. Oh, before we move on, because Goku seems nigh invincible. So last season we got cold. Goku actually can't hold his breath in forever. So, which feels like maybe I'm misremembering. At some point in this franchise, Goku's just going to end up in space fighting people, right?
Yep.
Did he take people up through the atmosphere flying? Didn't that happen in that movie we watched?
Technically,
kinda. They do it for a little bit, and they do it in like Battle of the Gods, but I don't know if they ever really address like if he has to breathe or not.
It's 50 Superman rules where he's just holding
right.
his breath. Yeah.
Right. The rules basically change depending on what the writer needs at the time.
Sometimes he can just blow a moon into pieces with a kiss.
Okay. Episode 47. Goku and Bulma end up at Master Roshi's island after she had just been assaulted, and So now Roshi wants to assault her. The microband that Bulma had in the previous season is now used for Roshi to watch her go to the bathroom. And then he gets flushed down the toilet. Weird episode.
Basically, Bulma's in like an Abel Ferreira movie this season. It's just like, I don't know if you ever see like Miss 45. But it's like, well, she got assaulted. And then on her way home, she got assaulted again. Yeah, the Roshi microband thing this season, I was like, man, I did not miss this guy last season. This fucking sucks. I hate this.
This technology should have never been given to him.
To paraphrase my favorite Saturday Night Live sketch of all, I don't know why Bulma made it. Like, it just seems like it's only going to be used for evil.
I feel like if she is smart, like, if she's intelligent enough to make that, she should also be intelligent enough to know what Roshi's going to do with it. It feels...
I don't know that Bulma's that intelligent. I gotta be honest with you. She certainly lacks a social and emotional.
She's intelligent. She's not street smart.
No, which to be fair, not to victim blame here, because like obviously like especially with the General Blue guys, it's like what are you gonna do? You gotta look for the Dragon Balls, but don't go back to Master Roshi's island. Don't go back. Where the minute Goku's like we should go ask him for help, she's like, or we should ask anyone else for help. Also, I can't believe that Roshi makes the turtle do the gardening, which was a thing that happened in this episode.
I would think Turtle just enjoys it.
Is this the episode where he got his son back randomly?
Yes, Goku's he's fishing in the ocean, he's swimming, and he throws a turtle back, and he's like, Daddy? Yeah. You're like,
He's
whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa,
my
whoa,
son!
Whoa. Is this turtle allowed to leave the island? Yeah, what happened?
Has he
What's
been
going
missing?
on? What fresh new crime is Roshi responsible for? I also think it's funny that I don't remember this from the first season when we were really on this, or the second season when we were really on this island a lot, but like, I thought they're just like, oh, you have a submarine, right? He's like, of course. Of course I have a submarine. And I'm like, you do?
He's got everything.
Yeah, Launch is taking it to the market like she does.
Yeah, means of transportation are kind of weird in this universe in that anyone seems to be capable of owning a plane, flying a plane, owning a sub, owning multiple boats. It seems like capsules have made all of these things commonplace.
It feels like Indiana Jones rules, where anytime Indy walks around, it's like, I'm borrowing that guy's boat, and you're like, that guy has a boat. Like everyone just has a boat or a plane, or
right.
But that's also like adventure in the 1930s. Like, so you're kind of like, sure they do. It's one of those weird things where they have to take the submarine into the mainland, to shore, to go shop, which makes sense. Which also I thought was funny because I'm like, I wonder if this happens a lot with Launch, which is to this bear sneezing. But so when Roshi does one of his various crimes and gets flushed down the toilet, he comes out a sewer, and my first thought was, oh, is that on the mainland? Is this also, because the island's so small, but I guess there's a sewer on this very small island that just has his house and not a septic tank, because it's like a manhole cover, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something like that off of the side of the house. Yeah, it's a little...
Maybe he just swam back from the mainland really quickly.
I think this island has its own sewage system. All right, so they borrow Roshi's sub. Bulma, Krillin, and Goku manage to find their way to the Dragon Ball's location. However, it's trapped in a deep cavern. So, as they're piloting the sub to the cavern, General Blue's submarine shows up and starts firing on them. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Roshi still continues to try to spy on women in the bathroom using the microband. But while this is happening, General Blue's forces are heading toward the island. So, while he is casually assaulting women, the army's after him.
I'm all for B-plots.
I don't know who to root for here.
I guess Goku. I'm all for B-plots, but sometimes I don't need to know what everybody else is doing. We could have stayed in the subs. I was like, I don't know why this is here. I like Launch, but it's one of those things where I'm like, how about Launch goes on the adventure? Like, I don't know. Like I don't know why we're doing this.
I would definitely rather hang out with Launch than Bulma, and see what she has to add to it.
I would argue that both versions of Launch are nicer people with more integrity.
At least they know what they're about.
It's true. Also, this podcast has some reoccurring segments. One of them is Master Roshi as Sex Pest, but the more delightful one is Goku Outfit Watch, and he's a deep sea diver, Goku, and again, I love it. His little flippers, his little goggles, adorable.
So from now on, for birthdays and Christmas, you just want Goku in different outfits?
Yeah. Please give me this child in different outfits. It's in no way creepy. It's very Master Roshi of me to request such a thing. One might say.
That has to be. I know we talked about it last time, but that has to be a thing that Pop is doing.
They've got to be like this money on the table. You know, the
Yeah.
height of popularity, Dragon Ball, the original. I don't know. Maybe if Dragon Ball Daima hits real big, this becomes a thing. You know, one might say there's a Daima-esque adventure at the end of this season based on how that trailer played out. Episode 49. General Blue's forces attack Kame House, but are easily defeated by Master Roshi in launch. Meanwhile, Goku, Bulma, and Krillin abandon the sub and escape deep into the underwater cavern, discovering a lighting system and evidence of previous inhabitants, namely long-dead pirates and a missing treasure. I gotta be honest, this whole pirate thing, I'm loving it. I'm not a big pirate guy, never really had a fascination or affinity for pirates, but there's gonna be a lot of pirate stuff in this season that is totally my kind of pirates.
It's weird pirates. Like, I don't understand these pirates, but I dig them.
Yeah, oh yeah, and the fact that they're hundreds of years dead, like the idea that this was a previous culture of pirates that's been long gone. We did check in with Commander Red, this episode, and he did make a really good point where when General Blue's like, hey, I've been failing like everybody, and Commander Red did make this excellent point where he's like, he's supposedly surrounded by the best minds of every industry, and yet he is constantly bested by a single child. Hey, step one, you got to identify your problem, but he really needs to staff up. I'm a big fan of Launch. And I really liked, I'm going to call her Evil Launch, but really, Roshi is the evil one. So when Roshi tries to convince, Evil Launch that she likes massages, and she just goes, that's plausible, I guess, but then immediately opens fire on him anyway.
You're right. I might. I'm still going to kill you.
You're right. Bang, bang! Also, it felt a little fucked up. I felt a little bit less sympathy on the turtle side for the turtle when the turtle's like, oh, I actually can just make her sneeze at any time. And I'm like, turtle, if that, one, you should not be doing that. You shouldn't be manipulating this woman. And two, if you could do that, why is this happening? The turtle's kind of a Ghislaine Maxwell figure too. Roshi's Epstein is what I'm coming clear to me. Oh, also, so they attack Roshi's house. Roshi can catch bullets. This whole time?
Yeah, why hasn't that come up more often?
Seems like useful. Seems like a useful thing he could have been doing.
I mean, so far that none of them have really been hurt by bullets.
Yeah.
So it seems, I don't know. It seems like bullets are kind of useless in this world.
They're useless until they need to, because like Goku's been threatened by a gun before. You know, it's very like it's true like Looney Tunes kind of physics where it's like it's real when it needs to be. You know. Also thought it was weird that when they start talking about the treasure, and I get why Krillin's excited about the treasure. Is Bulma not rich? Why does she care about the treasure?
Clout.
She could be more rich, and she could be more. I don't know. Every time she wants anything, it's all about like cosmetics and making herself look better.
And what makes her look better than money?
Exactly.
God, this show's full of horrible people. This show is. Brian, you would take 50.
Not much to say about this episode. Basically, the gang travels through the cave, and they get ambushed.
This is an episode. This episode I would equate to an MCU entry where not a lot happens, but then the end drops in something where I go, can't wait to see that.
Right, exactly. I mean,
Here comes the robot pirate.
Yeah. Like, okay, a series of traps. They get through it. Okay, challenges. Blue loses all of his men. It's just down to Blue and, Goku, Krillin, and Bulma. They're in a, interesting that the pirates are like technologically advanced pirates, but they're from, centuries ago. They've got their own pirate submarine. They've got their own like James Bond villain super dock, underground, undersea. And then every season there's one character that David falls in love with, and this season, pirate robot.
pirate robot that looks suspiciously like a xenomorph.
Love it. Yeah, he's like skeletal and orb design. Great design. This is, I think we've talked in previous seasons how some of these designs, really pop and just have a fun aesthetic, and there's not much else like it. This orb kind of skeletal, animatronic, like old school robot, like almost Disney theme park style, but then it's like a skull face, and the amazing choice of the way the robot talks.
Yo ho.
Shiver me timbers. It's great. Love it. All he does is say the most basic pirate catchphrases in the most robotic voice. And he kind of goes around like he's on wheelies. He doesn't like walk.
Yeah, he rides his Heelys everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, also, wait, something crazy did happen this episode that I did want to talk about. There's a goat painting Commander red in this episode.
Oh yeah, there was.
Yeah. So in classic villain, you've seen this in a million movies. Speaking of the MCU, famous Captain America, First Avenger, that's how they reveal. They start to hint at the Red Skull. Your villain is standing for a portrait, because they're vainglorious and they want a royal, regal, full painting of them. And Commander Red is no different, but it's like a goat. And he's painting Commander Red. Oh, and so far, General Blue has just been a kind of a feat Nazi. But new twist, he seems to be electric proof. He seems to not be harmed by electricity.
Oh yeah, that electric eel.
Yeah, an electric eel attacks him. He seems to absorb it and kill the eel.
He really does remind me of like a random James Bond villain.
Well, he's sort of like, and this is like a trope. Obviously, like Star Wars does this. Like it's the British effete Nazi. But then, like, they keep adding stuff to him. I did think it was funny when he did he's doing a lot of devious asides to kind of himself, kind of Soto, like either to himself, but sort of to camera of like, I'll finally catch them. And he does one, and Goku seems to hear it. Go, did you hear that? And I think they kind of cheat by revealing it was actually the pirate robot made a sound. But it's cut in this way where General Blue does a devious aside in the dock, hiding from them. And you cut to Goku going, did you hear that? I don't think we're alone.
Yeah, no, was that supposed to be the pirate? Because I pretty much took that as he just heard General Blue talking to himself.
I think they're trying to make it be like that, but then, oh no, it was the pirate robot was
Okay.
actually what Goku heard, because like they all kind of freeze, and then the pirate robot comes out as like yo ho, and it's great. All right, episode 51. Brian, did you take 50? Is that
Yeah,
or
it's
who took-
it's mine.
Steve, go. Good.
All
I'm
right.
glad somebody's remembering.
So, pirate robot fight begins with Goku and Krillin trying to do whatever they can to slow it down. The base that they're in at this point has a lot of weird set pieces in it, including a giant submarine, a giant building. While Krillin and Goku are trying to fight this, Bulma's hopping onto the submarine and trying to shoot projectiles at it. The fight continues ultimately with the robot pulling Goku underwater, where Goku ends up incapacitated. He like electrocutes him. Goku ends up trapped under some rubble at some point because this fight just goes on forever.
This
He
fight
ends-
is the episode.
Right,
Like,
this fight is the entire episode. So Goku ends up incapacitated, trapped under some rubble. Krillin and Bulma seek refuge in the oddly placed building, where they find the control center for the robot. Robot almost kills Krillin and Bulma, but Goku is able to rescue them and destroy the robot. Bulma and Krillin go ahead and keep following the Dragon Radar, while Goku follows a little bit behind them. General Blue's also on chase, and much like Hansel and Gretel, Krillin decides to leave a trail for Goku to follow, but General Blue tampers with the trail so that he ends up going left when he should be going right. And that's where our episode ends.
It's interesting. Also, by the way, so they try a bunch of things to destroy the robot, and Bulma does attempt to defeat the robot before getting on the cannon with her signature move, hitting it with a car.
Oh yeah,
Which
she
is-
does do that, doesn't she? I forgot about that.
She just tried in the Street Fighter 2 Dragon Ball Fighter. I know there are Dragon Ball Fighters, but I assume that but I'm thinking more of an old school 90s Street Fighter 2 style one, where I assume Bulma just takes cars at people, right? Is that what she does?
I mean, that's how I would fight. But to be fair, I have no prior training.
I also liked just throwing in more General Blue. One of his tragic flaws is that he is a true Greek style narcissist, where he at one point strips his shirt off and then has to stop and admire himself before following Bulma and Krillin into the well. Like the place is starting to collapse a little bit. We're getting a little bit of leaks. He strips his shirt off to go swimming, but then looks down at himself and goes, "Ooh, what a bod."
The man knows what he likes. I can't fault him for that.
For a character who's really going to only be around for these 10 episodes or whatever, he's got a lot going on.
Yeah, he is oddly fleshed out as a character
Yes!
compared to literally everyone else we meet during the Red Ribbon Saga.
He has zero backstory, and yet I feel like I know everything I need to know. Like, I've learned so much about this guy.
Why does the pirate armor look like Saiyan armor? And was that
Centuries
is that
old.
the origin of it?
I think
shit.
one predates the other, so I think it's just...
The pirates are secret Saiyans. Hundreds of
Just
years
out of
ago.
curiosity, I looked it up, and the robot from the manga looks way different from the anime version.
Does it?
He's more.
That's
almost
disappointing
more,
because this is my favorite character ever.
he's almost more xenomorph, more
Oh.
black and less skull.
Oh, wow. That looks significantly different. Actually,
But he's got the Saiyan shoulder pads.
Oh, okay.
You're like, wait a minute, I like both of them.
I do ultimately like the animated. I like the green. I think the green's a nice touch.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying, especially with the tail. It really reads more.
Xenomorph.
Yeah, where it's the same color as the pads to the point where it feels like a skeletal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool though. I like it. Also, I like that his face is a skull, and that he's just got a little skull and crossbones on his skull head.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
you
so
have to
get
know
it.
he's pirate.
I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting that he isn't wearing Saiyan armor, but he sure looks like he is. And
And at this
that's
point,
the only time
he had
I'm assuming it shows up in this show.
And at this point, he had not Saiyans weren't a thing yet, right? 'Cause
Nope.
that's interesting. You know, hey, sometimes you reuse stuff. You know,
Yeah,
like that look.
I think this
Hey,
is just
sometimes you look at it. Sometimes you make a slam dunk choice like this and go, "I gotta reuse this."
You'll be seeing this for the rest of the show.
Like, look at this guy. He's the best. I forgot he also has a gun arm. Man, he's just got so much going on, and I love it.
He honestly reminds me of like a Mega Man boss.
Actually, yes. I was just trying to figure
Yeah,
out what it
see
reminded me
that.
of. And this absolutely
that.
looks like something from Mega Man, like Mega Man 3.
And it's got to be like parallel because what Mega Man's also starts in the late 80s, and the manga at this point would be 84, 85, 86, something like that.
Yeah, parallel thought.
Yeah, because the manga's 84 is when it starts, and the show starts 86, I think. Is that what
I
it was?
believe so.
Anyway, episode 52. Goku falls through a trap door. I actually don't remember how he even got to a trap door. I think it just happens, right? He just goes the wrong way. Goku falls through a trap door and lands on a malicious octopus that attacks him. However, Goku burns and eats him. Meanwhile, Krillin and Bulma find a room with a 10-armed statue and 3 chests. The statue attacks, but Krillin defeats it and opens the gold chest. General Blue reveals himself and attacks. Krillin draws Blue's blood, enraging him as he fears losing his beauty due to injury. Blue defeats Krillin by paralyzing him with a hypnotizing stare, which is a thing he can do apparently, and is about to kill him when Goku arrives and prepares to battle the general. So yeah, yet another thing about General Blue is he apparently seems to have telepathic abilities.
He can pretty much just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's basically that kid on the playground that was just like, my power is to have all the powers. So,
Yeah,
He also,
yeah.
from that last episode or last 2 episodes, whatever, where he takes his shirt off, he's shirtless for the remainder of this, right?
he is
Well,
pretty
yeah.
much, he does not wear a
Yeah,
shirt
he
again
just-
the remainder of this arc.
Guys, I don't know if you heard him, but what a bod.
Yeah.
Well, he can do the power up thing where he gets more. He gets like Bane, which like a bunch of characters can do on this show. You know, where he just starts flexing and it's like he's got the venom. You know, and then he
Yeah.
will break the bat. Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember Moana all that well, but this octopus this is like what the octopus is like in Moana, where he's like
Yeah,
groovy,
basically.
baby. Yeah, like I don't know if Jermaine Clement saw this. You know, but anyway, I thought that was weird. And also just the pure insanity that Goku just literally just burned this octopus out through the eye and then ate him. It's just great. It's the darkest thing Goku's done yet.
I mean, to be fair, the octopus was going to eat him first.
Yeah, but Goku doesn't seem particularly vindictive up until this point.
I might be misremembering.
I don't think he was vindictive. I think he was just hungry.
Has Goku eaten other random animals in this yet?
Yeah, but rarely have we watched him murder them and then do it in the moment.
Is it, Steve, you would know, has he done the whole like dinosaur tail thing, or is that Gohan I'm thinking of?
You're thinking of Gohan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so far dinosaurs have been a thing he's run in terror from. I don't think he's
But
tried,
he hasn't
I don't
eaten
think he's
a
tried
dinosaur.
to. He's
Okay.
fought like one of them, I think. But they've definitely been like, they seem to be like an impossible threat to him.
Okay.
So far.
Yeah, I think I'm misremembering it with the first season of Dragon Ball Z.
Also, they fight a statue that seems very much like the Hindu god Durga, but kind of isn't, kind of is.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the reference there was supposed to be, but what,
It's Durga, but like not exactly, because Durga has a different weapon in each arm, and each one means something different. Whereas this statue, I think it's all just the same kind of sword.
It's all sword.
Yeah. Which I assume the sword symbolizes cultural appropriation. Is what it symbolizes. That's why there's 10 of them. Also, Bulma sees a shirtless Nazi and immediately tries to fuck it. Which, come on, Bulma, just get. You know what, Bulma, respect yourself a little bit more. I think that's all I had for this one. Yeah. I can't believe Bulma tried to fuck General Blue.
Really? I can believe it.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I can believe it. I just don't want it to be the case.
It's like her whole character, though. I don't know.
When I think about ragtag bands of like heroes, the ones that really stand out to me are usually because they're likable. Relatable, likable people I want to hang out with. Whereas, like, I will say the big thing about this show is like Goku is cool and everybody else is a sex pest, and I don't love that. They're like a greedy, vain sex pest. Like all of them. It's just a question of degrees.
I'm really interested to get into Z to see if that changes or not, because I swear it's not the same.
Oh, it is not at all.
I would hope not. I don't know if I could.
I think that's one of my biggest struggles with this show, is that like no one's really likable, whereas in Z, like, it's a whole group of friends and they're just being buddy and they're just fighting crime together.
Right. And with like, well, it's like we meet likable characters, but they don't stick around. Where like Android 8, where it's like, oh, this is cool. But, hey, Android 8, you want to join the band? like, or whichever character.
You're not creepy enough. Can't join.
Yeah, sorry, we're stuck with these pederasts. Like, we're stuck with these these dregs of society. It is weird. It would be weird. I don't know a lot about Z, but I would assume it would be weird if like the characters I've seen, like Piccolo. It'd be weird if Piccolo was like, I am a dark, scary, omnipresent, all-powerful villain, and I'm also a sex pest. That's a little too much mustard on the sandwich. I would hope that is not like how this goes.
It's a little too real.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Namekians are asexual, right?
Correct.
And I don't know. I don't know that Piccolo has ever done anything involving any other person in that regard.
It's a real one or the other in this universe.
He's
you
a very
are the
stoic
worst
being.
sexual criminal, or you do not have sexual desire. All right, Brian, you would take episode 53.
Basically, I don't know. Krillin's like knocked out in his underwear. Bulma's running around in her underwear.
They had to
Goku's
swim.
Yeah,
it's perfectly legitimate this time. This one time.
I guess, but they're weird outfits. I don't love it. Yeah, Goku and Blue fight.
I'm shocked they had the restraint to put Bulma in a tank top.
Yeah,
I'm legitimately surprised.
that might have been a edit, maybe.
No, I'm pretty sure that's just how it was.
But yeah, Goku and Blue fight a bunch. Bulma and Krillin are like, all right, we got to go. We're leaving Goku behind. Sorry. He defeats Blue. But he's trying to get a Dragon Ball?
Yeah, the chests have a ball. The statue. I guess Shenron sent the ball to a place there was already a puzzle, which, good on Shenron. Really forward thinking, that dragon,
Yeah. But I guess the whole point of this is that, or during their fight, a mouse shows up, and it's apparently the only thing that Blue is afraid of, which is
Yeah, we find out that he has to stay concentrated on the person to keep them hypnotized. He can't just it's not like a set it and forget it. So a mouse distracts him because he's effete and therefore afraid of mice, like women are, is I think the joke. so many layers. So many layers to Blue.
But yeah, so because the mouse disrupts Blue, Goku defeats him, and then he goes after Dragon Ball and leaves Blue for dead while Bulma and Krillin dip off, and Bulma's like, it's fine, I'd want you to do the same thing. We're out of here. Goku saves the mouse. He puts him in his mouth.
Yeah. Blue lives because that's how this show works, but he neck snaps Blue into a wall. Like Blue.
Yeah, Blue's dead.
Blue lands the way the way the victims land in Sweeney Todd when they go down through the chair in the Burton movie.
Random side note.
Yeah.
I can't remember what episode it took place in, but I think it was before this episode. When Blue randomly is like, I am invincible. Was that a callback to GoldenEye? Which would have been
No,
after?
because this predates.
Yeah,
this predates.
that's what I'm
GoldenEye.
confused
It
about.
predates GoldenEye, but I had the same thought you did. I actually have the note in whatever episode it's in. It might be this episode. But I think that is the English voice dub guy doing that as a reference since they dubbed it after GoldenEye came out.
That's what I thought. I was like, okay,
That would
this
make
is
sense.
this is a voice
in
reference
the
to
Japanese,
GoldenEye.
Yes, that is, yeah. GoldenEye is 95. I think we had asked about it in the last podcast, and we were like, I think they kind of came out at the same time. And what it was is, so Funimation buys the rights to all of it in 93 or 94. And they actually try to pilot the Dragon Ball in small markets to see if it'll catch on, like Saturday morning cartoons and syndication, and it just doesn't in North America. They just can't make it work. They actually get the first season, and it just does, and it doesn't even go nationwide. So they go, screw it, in 96, 97. Let's do DBZ. They do the same thing with the first season of DBZ. It doesn't work again. And then they put it on Toonami, and they get on Cartoon Network in 98, 99, and that's when it takes off. And then in 2001, Toonami comes back around and does the rest of Dragon Ball. So my guess is they did not localize. They had only localized the first season of each one up until about 99, is what it
That
seems
makes
like.
sense.
Yeah. So that is, as far as I can tell from researching, that is the history of how this came to North America. Yeah, so that is definitely a voice actor with full knowledge of GoldenEye, having a laugh at our expense.
Because I was like, oh shit.
No, it happened. I was like, what? Which does not explain Moana, since that happened way later. It still feels like I'm like, wait, why is the octopus like the Moana octopus? Oh, also, hey, General Blue, please don't describe Goku's quivering lip, you fucking freak. It's a thing he does in this episode.
I mean, one of his psychic powers is bondage, so he's
one of his psychic powers is being attracted to children. This is the first time he makes a big reference to it. It's not the last time he makes a big reference to it. Also, just speaking about the gun thing, Goku is just suddenly afraid of General Blue's shotgun because bullets can sometimes be scary, sometimes not be.
It was a little strange that they're like, all right, he's putting the shotgun to this kid's head. And I'm like,
and then Bulma is a real coward about it, and basically is just like, I hope the children around me die instead of me.
Yeah.
Also, he doesn't kill Blue, but Goku seems to think he did. He's like, oh well, he's dead. And grabs the mouse.
I really thought he was gonna shoot him with the shotgun, and Goku was just gonna get one of those Looney Tune bumps.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that he gets when Launch shoots him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Launch just has. Maybe Good Launch is loading Evil Launch's gun with rubber bullets, and Evil Launch doesn't realize it.
That's my new headcanon.
I think. Yeah. Wait. Solved it. Put it on the wiki. Put it on the Dragon Ball wiki. That's canon now.
I mean, if you knew that you turned evil when you sneezed, would you carry a gun?
Well, see, I think so. Good Launch has to think she'll get one. What if I already have one? She won't think to check.
All right, it works.
Yeah, it works. Guys, solved. Put it on the big board. The big board of continuity issues. That's the real mission of this podcast. Is we'll eventually solve them all. All right, Steve, you want to take 54?
All right, so Goku manages to make it out of the collapsing cave, or make it to the submarine that Bulma and Krillin are getting ready to use to escape. He makes it at the 11th hour as Bulma's just like, we're gonna leave. It's what he would have wanted. So they get, as the sub's trying to escape the collapsing tunnels, it ends up getting downed. Goku uses his Kamehameha wave to launch it out of the tunnel as quickly as humanly possible. Mouse is still okay. Need to emphasize this. Mouse is still fine.
Goku, friend to animals, except for octopi.
So after they make it out, they make it back to the island. They steal a helicopter to fly their way back to Roshi, having retrieved the Dragon Ball and one suspiciously large diamond. General Blue shows up, showing that he did not die inexplicably, having survived the tunnel collapsing and having his neck broken. General Blue takes another helicopter to pursue them. Bulma, Krillin, and Goku arrive at Roshi's island. Launch steals the sweet diamond that they got and takes off in one of the helicopters. Blue gets to the island and secretly lands, making plans for how he's going to acquire the Dragon Balls.
Yeah, Launch, the smartest character in the show. I'm out of here. Goku, like, yeah, he the command wave like destroys the sub to get it. Goku doesn't understand water pressure because like everyone has died from the bends.
Correct.
Okay, and I didn't put it in the description because I didn't even understand how to even write it out in a I try to write these in a non-judgmental way. But Bulma hid the diamond in her genitals, and I can't.
Her prison wallet.
I can't.
No, prison wallet's in the back.
Yeah, it's not where she hid it. That's not the implication Krillin makes when he smells it.
I didn't know there was a difference. I thought prison wallet could be.
I don't.
I didn't know our podcast was going to turn into a.
I mean, our podcast can only reflect the media which we consume, which in this case is horrific. I just liked it better last season when Goku was not with these people.
I was shocked that we just kind of did it all with the diamond and didn't do anything weird. I was like, okay, we're not going to be weird. Because she does that with the diamond. She pulls it out of her underwear, whatever. We have the conversation about it. But then like 10 minutes later, they're in the helicopter, and that's when Krillin's smelling it. I'm like...
Yeah. Also, Goku Goku Concussion Watch. They make it to shore, and I guess it's like a General Blue headquarter kind of thing for his army or for his like little battalion or whatever. And they come in and find like a radio, and I guess Goku doesn't understand radios and phones. I guess that's just a thing he just does not get. Again,
he's like, there's somebody trapped in this machine.
Feels
I was
like
gonna
a thing
say
he's encountered before.
This is when he's patting down the radio for its genitals, right?
Yeah. Forgot the lesson Nom taught him last season. He was doing real good, and then he forgot what a radio was, what a phone was, and what genitals were, and what people are. And I mean, it's got to be some extreme form of face blindness, but he doesn't even know what a person looks like. God. The diamond thing, man. I don't know.
It's a little weird.
It's not that it's been great this season in terms of that kind of content, but I don't know why this felt like a bridge too far. I just was like, guys, you cannot be doing this. You can't do this. Like,
if you want to be a kids show, don't do this.
If you want to be any show, I don't want to see this
At
in
no
any
point
show.
did they ever say they wanted to be a kid's
This
show.
didn't happen in fucking Prison Break. This didn't happen in Oz or Orange is the New Black. Not this. Let me put it this way. Did people hide stuff in their genitals in shows like that? Yeah. Did a kid then find it and smell it on the shows? Absolutely not. That did not happen.
The only thing I can think of where this has also happened is Pulp Fiction, and they didn't smell it. He just looked
No, the kid
at the
didn't
gold
smell
watch.
it. Christopher Walken wasn't like, here, take a smell. That's a terrible Christopher Walken, but you get it.
Take a sniff.
Take a sniff. God. Ugh. 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 moving on. Episode 55. General Blue uses his telekinetic abilities. By the way, he has telekinetic abilities, not just telepathic. New fact. Is the last new weird fact about General Blue? Of course it's not.
Nope. It just keeps getting better.
General Blue uses his telekinetic abilities to trap Goku and his friends with rope, stealing the Dragon Balls and leaving a bomb to destroy the island. Luckily, Launch returns, having decided to come back for some reason. She frees Goku, allowing him to throw the bomb to a safe distance. Goku uses the Nimbus Cloud to chase Blue's helicopter. They arrive at a mysterious island, where Blue knocks Goku out of the sky, but in turn crashes into a mountain. I guess Blue could always control objects with his mind, a thing he had not been doing previously.
I'm assuming it's part of his whole like freezing people, and I don't.
He can only
Oh.
control rope. It's a very specific telekinetic power.
He did pointedly pick up the rope, didn't he, when he was at the compound?
I need this.
It's a real Dennis from It's Always Sunny. These are my tools.
Is it only blue rope?
I thought it was just a normal yellow rope. Is
It
that
was a normal rope. It
Turned blue.
It turned blue, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
His psychic powers are
yes,
blue.
He turns it. Yeah. Yep. Sure. Why not? Yeah,
He's from the
of course he
X-Men
can. Of
Blue
course,
team.
of course, General Blue can. Why couldn't he?
This is a weird episode, and this is where the season. I already didn't really love this season, but this is where it got more weird and more just. I'm checked out, kind of.
I kind of liked a lot about this. We'll recap at the end, but I will say
Yeah.
pirate stuff. I was down. Pirate robot, the pirate adventure, treasure, fights in a sinking pirate, castle underground. All cool. Like, great, sure. Where this goes next is a little strange. It's a little odd to cram into just 2 episodes. It's called Penguin Village. We actually spend a little bit of time here at the end of the episode. And I'm sorry, do they have their own son, or has the son been alive this whole time?
So
Because the
what
son smiles at them.
What I assume, and to make all of this make a little more sense, and what I thought was happening but apparently is not happening, at the end of the episode, they're going into Toriyama's other manga.
Correct. They're in
And-
Dr. Slump.
Yeah, I had a
So-
question. I wrote a note. I said, Penguin Village feels like a parody of some other show I've never seen.
So
You're
these next 2 episodes are in his other manga, which is, fine, but he's never
Was
really
it a
done
parody
that before.
manga? Because, like,
Yeah, it is.
we meet, like, Superman and Astro Boy in this world.
Yeah, it's some weird like science fiction parody manga something and called Dr. Slump. And I don't know a lot about it. I guess apparently before Dragon Ball was ever created, Toriyama, I think we talked about it, but apparently before Dragon Ball was ever a thing, Toriyama was already incredibly wealthy because of that manga. That was like his thing in Japan. I don't know
Got
that
it.
it ever really tracked over here.
Right.
No, they tried to make
Not-
Dr. Slump work over here, and it just didn't.
This-
It's really esoteric.
This backdoor pilot that ends this season didn't get kids excited for Dr. Slump.
Well, that's the thing. Dr. Slump had already ended.
Yeah.
By the time Dragon Ball started, because Dragon Ball literally took over the time slot that Dr. Slump occupied in Japan. So this show ends, Dr. Slump ends, and Dragon Ball picks up the very next week.
These 2 episodes that feel like Spider-Man showing up, or the Avengers or the X-Men showing up in Spider-Man when you're a kid and you're just like, holy shit, they can do that?
Me watching this was like what I assume many people felt like watching like MCU stuff, where they're like, "Who is that? Like, what's happening at the end
Yeah.
of this?" And I'm like, "Don't
Right.
worry about it. Doesn't
I-
matter."
I knew what it was, and I was surprised that it happened because I had no idea that this had ever been a thing. But also because I don't know anything about Dr. Slump, it did nothing for me.
It feels like knowing what it is does not make these episodes any less beguiling.
Yeah.
Like, Brian, do you want to take 56, describe part 1 of this Penguin Village adventure?
I don't know. My description is that Goku goes to Dr. Slump Land and he meets Dr. Slump characters. And then
Who is Dr. Slump?
I think Dr. Slump is supposed to be the father.
Oh, is that the doctor they take him to? That's like Speed Racer's family.
Yeah, Raleigh. How do you pronounce her name?
Aurelie.
Aurelie, yeah. At least that's how they said it in the
Aurelie-
dub. Yeah.
Yeah, Aurelie's family. I believe the
Yeah,
dad of that family
Which is like
Dr.
the Speed
Slump.
Racer family, but it's a plane instead of a car.
It's all of it's weird, and it didn't really like. I don't know.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for posterity. So, Goku meets a child named Arali and her sprite friends Gachin 1 and 2. Together, they search for General Blue, who steals a superhero named Sour Man's car. Because Sour Man's kind of like Superman, but he's got a car. Which I mean, I guess Clark Kent has a car. I don't
And
know.
he eats sour candy. I guess.
Does he?
or
Does
whatever
that
fruit
come up?
was.
I feel like Metropolis. Actually, no, because Metropolis is typically depicted as a good city with public transit that works. So I don't think he does have a car usually. I'm sure he's had a car at some point.
He has a truck in Smallville. Let's assume that.
Yeah, but it's his dad's, and he keeps it for sentimental reasons. He tries not to drive it because it's bad for the environment. But anyway, so Goku then meets a woman named Akuma, who has been stopped by a police officer named Toro. When he tells them about General Blue from the Red Ribbon Army, Toro flees in terror. So this is not like an alternate universe they've fallen into. They seem to be living in this world and know who the
Right.
Red Ribbon Army are. Blue meets a boy who resembles his little brother. Put a pin in that. And the police find them. So Blue steals their cruiser. So Blue's just stealing car after car. Goku notices the dragon radar is not leading him to Blue. So Arali takes Goku to a doctor to get it fixed, who I guess is Dr. Slump. I don't recall them ever saying the name Dr. Slump.
It's apparently a nickname. I had to look this up.
Okay.
Because I was like, why in the name of God was this series called Dr. Slump?
And why is this mechanic a doctor? He's not. He's a mechanic. I do not care for Sour Man. I'm going to put that right out there. Not because he's a parody of Superman, a beloved character, but just because I found the character just visually off-putting.
I liked his face when he ate the sour candy, or fruit, or whatever
Is
it was.
it like Popeye?
Hilarious.
Does it give him power? Is it like spinach?
Wasn't
like,
it a plum? Was it a super sour plum?
I
Something?
guess.
Is what he said it was?
It was just hilarious to me for some reason.
Okay, so General Blue meets Astro Boy. I don't know how else to describe it, but Astro Boy shows up. A character that looks exactly like Astro Boy almost shows up. And General Blue goes, "You remind me of my little brother," and then tries to kiss him. So this is the next part of General Blue's whole deal, is I guess he has a child-aged brother he wants to be romantically involved with? What is happening here? Like, what? And why is Astro...
I'm going to be honest. I kind of mentally blocked everything involving that scene. Nope.
It doesn't help that it has this deja vu quality, because he steals another car right after stealing a car where you're just like, I'm sorry, am I it's weird to think you're misremembering something as you are watching it. Like as it is happening. I mean, the whole world is, I guess, yeah, it's just a satire of like other... It felt like it was all satires of other anime and manga that I am only vaguely familiar with.
I was pretty checked out on both the episodes.
I was intently watching because I was so confused.
It felt like Goku and General Blue traveled too fast and broke a barrier and went to another dimension.
That's what I assumed.
And it was
going to
happen.
But then they know who the Red Ribbon Army are.
And that's when I was confused. I was like, wait, so this isn't a different dimension?
Yeah.
And
I think it's just an island in the world.
I guess it wasn't this episode, maybe the next one.
Like, remember when we watched that movie and they break apart what is essentially the Arctic shelf of their planet? Presumably you can cut to this island and they're aware of this devastation and they're like flooded. I don't know what happened. Like,
it's a real weird thing, especially to end your season on.
I think this is one of those you're not supposed to think this hard about it kind of situations.
And because it is animated, and the way the animation production works is, this is where the production season does end and where they break the saga. But you would have watched these 2 episodes and then the next week Series 5 would have started. So you're not supposed to like think of it too much as... And also this whole saga, this whole Red Ribbon Army thing is sort of one big long thing. So episode 57... Okay, so the doctor is a mechanic named Senbai, who apparently is the titular Dr. Slump.
I think. I
whose
don't know.
posture seemed fine. He attempts to fix the Dragon radar. Okay. Officer Toro rallies other police officers to prepare for invasion from the Red Ribbon Army. Senbai's baby, who's named Turbo, manages to help him fix the radar. Blue arrives. Blue just kind of shows up at their house, plans to steal the family's plane, because they have a plane. Goku finds Blue. Blue threatens Aurelie with a knife. He does not know Aurelie is basically as strong as Goku. He stuns Goku with the psychic abilities, steals the radar. Aurelie intervenes and just knocks Blue out of the village, presumably out of off the island, it seems like. Like, takes
Low
him,
Earth orbit was what was
yeah.
implied.
Because especially where he ends up later, he's gone. Separate from this, the police encounter aliens. They kind of reminded me of the Plutonians from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Right.
That's like, that goes nowhere. Toro is a dead end of a storyline. Turbo constructs new radar for Goku, and he leaves with the Dragon Balls. Meanwhile, Blue wakes up in a desert and finds a payphone and goes, "Hey, Commander Red, I got the Dragon radar from Goku. However, I am lost in the desert, and that is where the season is left." I did like when the police chief yelled, "We're officers, not maniacs," and then the woman just fired a machine gun and yelling, "What's that? I can't hear you," over the gunfire. I thought that was actually a really solid joke.
The entire police station was my favorite thing of these 2 episodes.
I mean,
They just kept
Keystone
shooting
Cops
the guns.
obviously is like a huge touch point for it. I assume they were a big part of Dr. Slump.
Apparently, Sour Man. Just side note. Apparently, Sour Man is Suppa Man in Japanese.
Oh yeah,
It's
you
still-
can't get away
it's-
from that legally.
It still means Sour Man, but it's Suppa Man.
Okay. So it's like a pun because it
So
sounds
yeah,
like
it's-
Superman because
he
Superman
also-
just
Play
says
on
Superman.
words.
He also has
Yeah,
a younger
yeah.
brother named Sayopa Man, who is Salty Man. Unfortunately, we do not see the brother in this episode.
Well, but fortunately we don't, because General Blue would try to fuck it.
Oh, that too.
Also, in these last 2 episodes, gotta call it out. 2 episodes ago, so right before they go and Launch comes back in the helicopter, Anime Shine. Did I remember to do it? Haven't forgotten yet, but it feels like something I might forget.
I think you're gonna do
This
it.
does feel like a random aside, so
There we go. We'll see. We'll see if I remember to do it. David stares at the time code, hoping he'll remember. Yeah, so this is where we left off. So we've got... So final thoughts were... Middle chapters are hard. This is the middle chapter of the Red Ribbon Army Saga. This is the 2 towers of the Red Ribbon Army Saga.
But the 2 towers is good. I don't
That's-
like this.
I will say the upcoming saga.
Usually
is
the middle
better.
chapter is my favorite. I don't really like endings. I love beginnings. I like middles.
You know, you do have a point there that Godfather 2 Empire and Empire Strikes Back are widely considered the best of those trilogies.
And a lot of people love 2 towers.
I like 2 Towers too.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
of the extendeds, 2 Towers
Generally,
is the best.
I really
of the
like
theatricals, Fellowship is the best. But
I generally love introductions and the middle where like the height of all the drama and everything is. The endings are almost always disappointing. In most cases.
I think Return of the King's pretty satisfying. So anyway, see us next time when we continue Dragon. Speaking of,
We have a long way to go.
we got so much more Dragon Ball. It's so great. Can't wait, man.
I'm very ready to be in a either I want Dragon Ball to be more intriguing to me or I want to be in Z.
I am curious to see, and Steve, maybe you can speak to this, the evolution of it, where because Dragon Ball Z just starts airing immediately after Dragon Ball ends, and does Dragon Ball tonally start to morph into Z, or is it like a true
Yes, it
hard
does.
line? Yeah, I was gonna say, like, once we get to these, it feels like these back 60 Piccolo Juniors, where we're gonna start feeling like, is there a big difference between the 2 shows at that point anymore?
It's significantly different. It
Yeah.
tonally feels like 2 different shows.
When you say that, are you talking about when it jumps or before it jumps?
Even before it
Yeah.
jumps.
When do we start there? Because I'm ready.
Well, Brian, we have to do the coming up next time. we have to do the next saga, which is the Commander Red saga, which seems to be the end of the Red Ribbon saga proper. And then we get to do the Fortune Teller Baba. And then we've got the Shin Han saga. I don't know who Shin Han is.
Shin Han's about where it starts feeling different.
Yeah, or Tien Shin Han. Sorry, the Tien Shin Han saga, and then King Piccolo and Piccolo Junior saga, and then it's Dragon Ball Z. But Brian, now you'll know.
Though I will say the Commander Red saga is pretty decent.
I got a pirate robot. I'm having fun. You get me one pirate robot level Finna season, I'll keep going. I'm excited. Anyway, well, I think we nailed it. You know, it's a short episode, but hey, it was only 12 episodes and not a lot happened. And yet so much happened in those last two that baffle me to this day. I don't know. You know what? I tell you what, maybe that'll be one day if this really takes off, we'll do a Patreon. We'll do Dr. Slump for everybody. You'll have to pay us though.
Yeah, you'd have to pay me.
Say, you got to pay me.
I said Patreon. It'll be on a Patreon.
I gotta get paid.
Don't you worry.
I will read the manga before I watch that anime.
It sounded like you were about to say, I would rather die.
No,
You were
I will read that manga. I will not watch that anime.
Well, I think that's as good a place as any to leave it. It's hard to find an ending since this didn't really resolve in any meaningful way, the episode. So I've been David.
I'm Steve.
And I've been Brian.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Instagram at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.